there's still risk here. So again, continue to manage portfolio risk. We were talking kind of ad nauseum about taking profits, rebalancing risk, etc., because we'd have this kind of corrective action. Well, that kind of started here. Now, the issue is that we could just simply kind of just trade here sideways for a bit, kind of work off some of that previous move, just kind of consolidate sideways. We could come down and test the 50-day moving average as well. So here's what you need to know before the bell this morning. Palantir just knocked it off the wall last night. Stock's going to be up today, but it's a much smaller component of the S&P, so it's not going to be the driver, the lift that a Meta or a Google or an Apple or Microsoft is. But nonetheless, NASDAQ right now is pointing up about 7 points. The S&P is going to be positive this morning. Now, the good news about that is that we had that big sell-off on Friday, and actually kind of two sell-offs on Thursday and Friday that kind of dropped us below the 20-day moving average. And that was yesterday's article on the website. We wrote the article talking about the bull streak ends. And we'd had this very long kind of bull streak where the market was above the 20-day moving average with no volatility of more than 1% on a given day. That all ended on Friday. Well, yesterday, very nice 1%, more than 1% rally yesterday. So again, now all of a sudden we went this very long stretch with not a 1% move. We've had two 1% moves in 2 days. Reclaim the 20-day moving average. So the issue now is the market needs to hang on to that 20-day moving average. So it needs to stay above this level for the rest of this week. Cement that's back above the 20-day. That'll help remove that risk of potentially a lower move to the 50-day moving average, which is decently lower. The 50-day moving average running around 61.20 right now on the S&P. But we still have a MACD sell signal in place. Relative strength got very oversold, and that's because of the fact that we've had that very low volatility move in the market. We had this relative strength that was very elevated. But because it was elevated on this very small move back and forth, every day the market was up or down 20, 30 basis points. When you had that bigger move of over 1% on Friday, that reversed a big chunk of that relative strength because of that move, the magnitude of that move relative to the compression it had seen over the last 14 days, which is the time frame used to measure relative strength, is a 14-day period. So that reversed a lot of that. So we saw a bounce yesterday in relative strength again, big bounce in relative strength yesterday as well because it was a decent sized move also yesterday. So we'll see if this can follow through. Today the market's going to open up, like I said, on the positive side. But there's still risk here. So again, continue to manage portfolio risk. We were talking kind of ad nauseum about taking profits, rebalancing risk, etc., because we'd have this kind of corrective action. Well, that kind of started here. Now, the issue is that we could just simply kind of just trade here sideways for a bit, kind of work off some of that previous move, just kind of consolidate sideways. We could come down and test the 50-day moving average as well. So again, as we talked about before, we are in that seasonally weak period of the year, August and September. So again, just be a little bit more cautious here. Again, doesn't mean be overly bearish. You don't need to go raise everything up in cash. I'm not saying the market's going to crash, but we do probably need to be, aware that volatility could pick up here a little bit over the next, couple of weeks. Now, again, there's so much momentum behind the market, so much bullish sentiment. Maybe that was a buy the dip type moment. We'll find out in a couple of days. And this is why it's important not to make big moves in portfolios. Just kind of prepare for these things so that you can ride them out accordingly. Anyway, that's what you need to know before the bell this morning.